Former United States President Barack Obama is in Nairobi, Kenya. Well, for more on this story, we're joined on the line by East African correspondent, that's Sarah Kimani. Sarah, this is the former president's first visit since his term ended. What's overriding public sentiment around his visit this time around, Sarah?
There is excitement, as you would imagine, that he is back in the country. Although he is on a private visit, we expect that he will be meeting President Uhuru Kenyatta in the next few minutes. And then after that, he will meet opposition leader Raila Odinga. Remember, these two leaders have close ranks and become friends and are trying to unite the country. So he will be discussing with them issues around uniting the country and also corruption issues. But his main reason for visiting is that he will be going back to his father's home in Alego in Western Kenya, where he's expected to open a recreational, sports and socio-cultural center, which has been founded by his sister, Dr. Auma Obama.
Earlier, Sarah, you spoke with Dr. Auma Obama, the sister of the former president. Take us through some of the key points she made during that interview on her work at the Sauti Kuu Center. Both siblings, we understand, hold youth and leadership development on the African continent very close to their hearts.
Yes, I do. And indeed, when I spoke to Dr. Auma, she said that the center that she is opening, Sauti Kuu, is Swahili for powerful voices. And she says that it will help young people to start entrepreneurial skills because they will be having a vocational training center. They will be having a sports center. They will also be taught simple things like having a kitchen garden and being able to save their own money. And when I asked her, from both her book and President Obama's book, you read of their father who really wanted to be somebody big in the country and somebody who had influence over his people. Are they trying to live their father's dream? And she said yes, indeed. And she said they hope that in this little way, through this foundation and the Obama Foundation, which, by the way, has just recruited 200 young Africans to go to the States and be taught to be trained to be entrepreneurs, she hopes that they can live that dream. But also, interestingly, she says they hope they can also live the dream of Nelson Mandela, one of having an educated population, and a population does not depend on handouts.
Sarah, before you go, can you just give us an understanding or some background on the tribal and ethnic backgrounds when it comes to President Kenyatta, Raila Odinga and President Obama, because there is some overlap and commonalities between Obama and Kenyatta on that one?
Yes, indeed. President Kenyatta's father, the first president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, was the first person who interacted with President Obama's father, Barack Obama Sr. And then when he left, there was the successor, the third president of Kenya, President Kibaki, who gave Obama's father a job. And when Obama came here, Kibaki was president. And so he says he holds Kenya dear, not only because it's a country of his father, but because of what he sees in this country. He says it's a country of young people who are determined to fight corruption, who are determined to stand on their own 2 feet. But remember, this is a man who traced the roots of his father and came back to a country that was so divided along ethnic lines. And a lot of people see him as a uniting factor. And it comes at his visit this time comes at a time when these two communities, the Luo community of Raila Odinga, Barack Obama Sr., and Kenyatta's community, the Kikuyu, are coming together following the handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And so they hope that this visit will, have an impetus on that handshake and will also just jumpstart the reunification of the country following that fractious election that we had last year.
That was Sarah Kimani, our East African correspondent, on the line there from Nairobi. She's updating us on former U.S. President Barack Obama's visit to the country. We understand that he will be inaugurating his sister's Sauti Kuu Foundation Vocational Training and Sports Center in Kogelo Village in Siaya County, which is his father's ancestral home. We'll bring you more details on that story as it comes in.